Meantime, it's filing day, so those who want to be your next governor in Missouri are filing today. That includes State Senator Bill Eigel, a couple of weeks removed from our Politics in a Pint, joining us on KCMO. So, Bill, have you officially filed yet, or is this coming here in the next hour or two?
It's good morning, Pete. It's coming in the next couple hours. Right now, I think there's a line out the door of more than 100 folks for offices all over the state. So we're trying to find the right time to get over there. But I can assure you it will be today, and we're looking forward to it.
Sounds like the DMV. Gosh, long lines and a lot of bureaucrats. Okay, go figure. All right, let's ask you about the controversy of the last couple of weeks that's gotten a lot of attention. One of your fellow candidates for governor, Jay Ashcroft, said at a panel that you guys did the week of Lincoln Days, the weekend of Lincoln Days. Here's the quote that he gave. He said, quote, "I don't think we ought to treat people based on classifications. I think we ought to treat everybody equally." And this is referring to supporting veterans and active duty military personnel. He said, "And I don't think we ought to say that if you live here, we're going to charge you this, but if you live here, we charge you this. I don't think we ought to say that if you're in the military, we'll give you this discount, but everybody else has to pay twice as much. I don't think that's good government." So last week, Mr. Ashcroft was on this radio station with Ray Stevens coming up at 10 o'clock. He asked him about those comments, and here's what Jay Ashcroft had to say.
Because I'm honest with the people of the state, I believe we ought to meet every promise that was made to our veterans. They deserve it. But I hate politicians and I hate government picking winners and losers and saying, well, you get this, but you don't get this. I want to get government out of everyone's lives. I want to provide the necessary services that we'd have to make sure that everyone in this state can be successful. That's what I want to do, and I want to do it with small government. And I think it's what people really want. But government loves to divide us, and I think that's the wrong thing to do. We're Americans.
All right. Bill Eigel, you've been following this. Now you've been vocal about this on social media. What say you?
Well, Pete, honestly, I don't know what Jay Ashcroft is thinking. I don't know the idea that because we want to take care of our veterans and support our veterans and make sure they get the services that they need, somehow that's the government picking winners and losers. I really don't know what to say to that. I think that, I am a veteran. It's personal for me. I can tell you that in an Eigel administration, we're going to do everything we can to take care of veterans. We're going to make sure we're funding our veterans' homes. We're going to make sure we're protecting our National Guard troops from COVID-19 shots that they don't want to get. We're going to make sure that we're protecting the farmland in this state by prohibiting foreign sales of our farmland in and around military installations. And, quite frankly, Jay Ashcroft was flat out asked what he would do for veterans, and his answer was, well, we don't really need to do anything special because that's bad government. So, Jay's never served in the military. Jay has actually had an extraordinarily comfortable life growing up in one of Missouri's most powerful political families. And here is a guy that is probably born with one of Missouri's greatest silver spoons ever. And to hear him talk about how he doesn't really think veterans are special. I mean, he says he likes what they did, but we don't want to treat them any different. I think that's a real insult to every veteran in the state. I actually served overseas. I have friends in this state who served overseas, I have friends who passed away overseas in defense of their country. And to hear a guy like Jay Ashcroft, who is the epitome of being coddled growing up, say that he just doesn't care, that really rubs me the wrong way. And I think it's going to rub not just a lot of veterans the wrong way, but a lot of folks that are going to show up in August to say no to the Jay Ashcroft that really doesn't care about veterans in this state. So, there's an old saying in politics, when your opponent is making a fool of themselves, don't interfere. So I think we just let it stand for what it is and speak on its own.
What, would you agree with his broader point that government dividing people based on classes and qualifications is something that we don't want more of? Like, is it possible that Jay Ashcroft's broader point is correct, but it's incorrect when it comes to the micro of the military, using that as an example?
Sir, there are certainly instances where government has divided the population. But for Jay Ashcroft to use veterans issues as a way to make that point just tells you how out of touch this guy actually is. I mean, here, once again, if he's going to make that argument for the people who have literally gone out, been harmed or killed in defense of our country. This is where he wants to make the argument. It's really just revealing to the people of the state that he just doesn't value military service. He doesn't value veterans in this state and what they've done. If he's willing to try to make this argument and go out of his way to say that, military veterans, they don't deserve any discounts, they don't deserve any special treatment, I think that is completely out of step with what Missourians want. Certainly there are places where we need to have this type of conversation, but wow, the tone deafness of a statewide candidate wanting to be the governor of the state to bring it up at this point is really, it's pretty amazing.
Bill Eigel, he is running for governor, filing today, joining us on 95.7 FM, KCMO Talk Radio in Kansas City. So, Bill, as we look ahead to these next several months, filing today, yourself, Mike Kehoe, who's the current lieutenant governor, and Jay Ashcroft are the three presumed frontrunners. That's what the polling shows right now. How do you ultimately differentiate yourself from these two and also build that name ID when you know you're behind the eight ball against those two guys on that specific issue?
Well, I tell you, we've been traveling. I think I've put 55,000 miles on my truck just in the past 14 months, getting to know folks from all over the state of Missouri. So I think we've seen my name ID steadily climb. And certainly we've got more work to do. But the way we're going to do it is we're going to go out there and talk about the Missouri that we all could have and we could all get to if we're willing to challenge and overthrow the status quo that's down in Jefferson City, saying we can't have that Missouri. And what does that Missouri look like? It's a Missouri where we get rid of personal property tax. I'm the only candidate for governor that's made a commitment and is willing to support a plan that will get rid of personal property tax on every vehicle in the state for every one of our citizens if we have an Eigel administration. I'm the only candidate for governor that is out there saying we shouldn't sell 1 square inch of our farmland to any foreign country. I mean, we know about China. China's like the low-hanging fruit. Of course we're not going to sell it to China. We shouldn't sell it to anybody else because Missouri ought to be owned by Missourians or at least Americans. And what about illegal immigration? I'm the only candidate for governor talking about what we're going to do about illegal immigration in the state of Missouri. I'm going to declare an invasion under Article 4 of our Constitution, because that's what this is. This is an invasion not just of our country, but of our state. We have almost 70,000 illegal immigrants in the state of Missouri right now. I've got a plan that can activate the National Guard, our law enforcement, and every sheriff in this state to detain and deport. You've heard of the Democrats' policy of catch and release. The Eigel administration is going to have a policy of detain and deport, and we are going to take our state back. And this Missouri that I'm talking about, and by the way, the people of Missouri asked for this better version of ourselves every 2 years on the first Tuesday in November. But we haven't been able to get there because there's been too many establishment politicians, just like Jay Ashcroft, who's out of touch, and certainly like Mike Kehoe, who's been in politics a long, long time. They keep asking, the people of Missouri keep asking for that. I'm the anti-establishment candidate that has made a habit of making the swamp uncomfortable down in Jefferson City. That's why the hallways and the people in power in Jefferson City are terrified of an Eigel administration, because they know that the day I become governor in this state, their grift has come to an end.
He's Bill Eigel. He is running to be your next governor. Filing day is today. Thanks for being here, Bill. We appreciate the time, and we'll talk to you down the road.
Awesome. Thanks, Pete. Talk soon.
You bet. Bill Eigel on KCMO Talk Radio.